All right. Welcome to the Listen and Learn Series podcast. Listen and Learn Series podcast is where we will discuss various topics. Topics over career development, HR for small businesses, but mainly entrepreneurship and other relevant topics that provide support, encouragement, and value to you, the listener. I'm your host, Jason Washington. On my show, my goal is to share and provide keys to success and help propel you to another level. Today, I'm happy to be joined by a good friend of mine, Mr. Jasen Adams, President and CEO of Doc Adams Golf. Jasen has always set out to be different in pretty much everything he's done. He has an artistic mindset, and definitely his work has been proven. He's been an avid golfer. Not only him, his dad, his cousins. I mean, it's a whole collective fun time when you go hang out with the Adams family. And so he also felt the need that, there's not a lot of Black presence in the world of golf. And so being a designer by nature, graphic designer, marketing, he was able to go from one brand of clothing line to now a golf apparel brand, and which you'll hear a little bit more about here in the show. So this was established in 1999. Doc has been through an evolutionary change with his brand, like I said, which you'll hear. But now he's positioned himself to make a mark in the golf industry on apparel. So I'm happy today to be joined by Mr. Jasen Adams of Doc Adams Golf. Welcome, Jasen.
Glad to be here, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. We got the opportunity to meet each other through through work. We were all young and dumb at the time, but we learned a lot, and the friendship has grown over the years. My wife, we've seen our kids grow, and I mean, it's just a true friendship that I appreciate. That family is close knit, and they've always been open arms and welcoming whomever. And I would just happen to be one of those whomever. So, thank you so much, Doc, man, for your time.
Absolutely, that's a fantastic intro. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Hey, man, I try to do my best, especially if it's somebody that has meant a lot to my family, meant a lot to me, man. You deserve all the kudos. So I don't want to wait any longer, man. Want to try to go ahead and get into this. First of all, to all my listeners, thank you. This is the first time I have ever done a live feed. I have done a mini podcast. I've done a mini webinars, but to do a live feed was different. So I'm gonna give a shout out to my younger brother with the Sip Slow podcast for encouraging and pushing me to go ahead and pursue those links. So welcome to the Listen and Learn Series podcast. So Jasen, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind, where you're from and kind of your background.
Well, I'm from Jasper, Texas, born and raised. So I'm just a country boy at heart, man, and wanted to do a few different things in my life, kind of leave a mark on this world, so to speak, doing the things that I know I can do. So I'm a designer by trade. I started back in '97 when I graduated from college. So I kind of dibbled and dabbled into apparel back '99 and '98, really starting in '98. And so I always had a passion to try to do my own thing one day. And I really wanted to push that, but opportunities never came. Life happens and all that kind of stuff where you just don't pursue the dreams that you necessarily have. But one thing I can say about myself is I never gave up. So I was in oil and gas for the better part of 20 years. So I recently held the position at KBR. I was the global brand manager, so I did a lot of traveling. I actually rebranded the company KBR. So if you ever in Houston, you're in downtown area and you see that flashy new logo that's on the KBR tower, I did that. So that's kind of a little bit of background of where I am and where I'm from. So, but I really launched into the company this year because I was laid off due to COVID. So I was at one of those crossroads where you wondered, okay, what am I going to do? What do I? So you got to have a great support system. I want to give a shout out to my wife because she stands behind me when whatever I want to do. So I told her, hey, I want to try to really push my line. So, and that's where we are today. I dropped it in September.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. First of all, the fact that you did this during the I guess a downtime essentially with being laid off, it to yourself and any entrepreneur. I mean, it takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of determination and mind makeup because essentially you're always looking to like, okay, what's next? How am I going to be able to support? How am I going to be able to pay this? How am I going to be that?
Right.
But you had a strong faith in what it is, your brand and your capabilities. And so I commend you for starting that during this time, man. Wonderful job.
Yeah.
I always like to ask this question, man, to anybody I have on the show. And, in order to do these things, you do have to have a passion, you have to have a dedication and some desire to do so. So what led you into golf and to be able to begin necessarily the Doc Adams golf?
Well, I always liked golf, but I wasn't never really into it. Like you said earlier about my father being into golf, he was heavy into golf when we were young, and he always tried to get us to pursue that route. But where we're from, just like where you from in the country, man, it's two things. It's track and football. So we really had a pretty athletic family, and most of us played football. Some of us went on to play D1 and into the pros. So it wasn't. Golf was kind of second fiddle, actually. We never really paid any attention to it. So, but then as we got older, I wanted to do a lot more things with my dad because, hey, man, life is short.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to try to do as much as you can with your parents. And he was still heavy into golf. So me and my brothers and my cousins all jumped into it around the same time. So that was about 12 years ago. Me and you played some rounds early on back then. I wasn't that great. And after that, man, I kind of just fell in love with the game. I mean, the competitiveness of it, the fashion of it, actually, because I was always told if you look good, you play good. So one of those kind of things. So I always looked at it that way, and so we kind of jumped in it from there, man. And if you've seen how we step out on the course, man, it's so. And I always wanted to put my stamp on it. I'm like, hey, man, why pay all the big businesses all this money when we can kind of do something for ourselves? And so that's where we are. And that's how I kind of thought about that. And then really, the golf apparel industry doesn't have a lot of major players. So it's not like you're a typical, the fashion industry that has any and everybody, any entertainer, any athlete, everybody has their own clothing line. So I was like, well, I just don't want to be a number. I want to do something that maybe stands out in the crowd. So I said, why not pursue what I like the most, which is golf? So I jumped into the golf line, and it's actually exceeded my expectations.
Absolute things. I read an article, and I wanted to ask you about this. I mean, golf is like an $82 billion industry. With that said, that's a lot of money out there to be made. 100%. There's many different avenues that you can go into with golf. You don't necessarily have to actually get out there and play the game and swing and lose balls. There's so much other stuff you can do. You can do design, you can do clothing, apparel, you can do engineering. It's a lot, but it's one of those areas that not a lot of people know about. So your dad got into it,
right?
And that triggered you and your family to start playing. My wife played golf all of her life, and she said from her dad, but it was all of these blacks and these black organizations who were propelling these kids and you to know that there's something else out there besides bouncing the ball, catching a touchdown, and throwing a baseball.
Right.
golf is actually a great sport. I know it's not as popular,
No.
but it's a great sport. So if you don't mind, kind of tell us about that journey, your walk with golf, if you don't mind, and then I'll get you off of it and take you to to the
I
next
mean,
question.
the journey came, I would say golf for me was about being competitive. It's something that
Yeah,
I'm the type of person that if I'm starting out to do something, I eventually want to do that very well. I want to be great at something. And I just have that kind of drive.
yeah,
So going out to the golf course and losing a dozen balls around is not something that you want to do.
right.
One, it gets expensive, and at the same time, it lets you know that you're not very good. And golf is, if the listeners out there don't know, is a very humbling sport. It's something that you're never going to master. It's something because the guys on TV don't even master it. So you can, as an amateur, go out there something that I'm going to do great because it's not going to happen at
Yeah,
all. My
yeah.
journey from golf was just as a passion of being good at it. And I practice pretty regularly. I'm down to a single digit handicap. So I'm no slouch when I step out there.
You see
So
why I don't go with y'all anymore.
right, right. So the journey has been great, man. I've played golf all over the world, from India and all other places, man. So it's something that I gravitated to, and I took it by the reins, man. It was something that I love to do very quickly. So, and now, I try to play, especially with having the golf line now. I need to be out there as much as possible. So now I try to play a good 2 to 4 times a week, man. That's what I do. That's the business now. So the journey is great, man. And I play with my dad still very often. Something that we do together with my cousins. I'm in a couple of leagues. So it's do, man, and it's a great thing, man. And you're starting to see a lot of more blacks playing golf now, women and men, which is fantastic. Which is a great thing to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for one, y'all, his daddy is the quiet assassin. I
Right.
couldn't imagine how he is now, but I know when we used to play, he always used
He's
to be
still
like, you
good.
know what? My daddy ain't gonna hit it far, but it's gonna be straight. And sure enough, he always somehow found a way to pull it off. But
Still the
Mr. Clay,
same.
shouts out to you, man.
Oh yeah.
Um, so back to your brand, man. Well, before that, you were laid off.
Yeah.
What were you thinking in that time? Was it a time of like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, or was it, you know what, this is my time right now to go ahead and launch my product? And so, how did you get to that and launch Doc Adams Golf?
Well, I came to that realization, man, that I was pretty much tired of making other people wealthy. So I like to say that I have a skill set that I know I can use to make somebody else's dreams come true. Why not make them come true for myself? So instead of pushing the corporate buttons all the time, I say, you know what? I'm done. I'm done being laid off. I'm done with all of that, man. So it's time to bet on myself. So I said, even though it was, dire times for a lot of people, one of the things that thrived in COVID is golf. It's one of the only things you could do right now without any problems, because golf actually was social distancing before social distancing was a thing,
That's
because you
true.
can't be next to somebody while they're swinging. One, you'll get knocked out, or you person's concentration. So it was always a social distance sport. So they just took advantage of it. So it's crazy how a lot of people took up the game. So I said, you know what, I'm going to capitalize on this while I can. So I just decided to bet on myself. Basically, I said, you know what, we're going to launch. So I you saw my old logo, which was the frog.
The frog, yeah.
So, and doing research, I found that it was several golf companies already that had a frog. So I was like, well, I can't jump out there with my logo that I've had for almost 20 years and get sued and can't move forward. So I say, you know what? I'll give it up. I'm a designer, man. Hey, I can think of something else. So there came the elephant. So the frog it was special to me. It had a lot of meaning. For those of you who don't know anything about a frog never crosses over the same path twice. So you go down some avenues in your life, or think about some times in your life that you don't want to go back to, and you don't want to cross those paths again. So that was the symbolism behind the frog. And so I was like, man, I want to do something with a deeper meaning as well. So, and that's where the elephant came in. And the elephant means, if you know anything about elephants, it never forgets.
Yep.
So I thought about that, long and deep. And I said, man, you know what? The elephant never forgets. So I don't ever want to forget where I came from the struggles I've been through, from the hard times, from the successes I've had, from the notoriety that I have in the oil and gas business, and all that kind of stuff led me to where I am right now. So I don't ever want to forget where I came from. So that's where the elephant came from. So I'm rocking with that like that now.
Absolutely, man. And that's a wonderful segue. I actually was going to ask you about the meaning of changing from the frog to the elephant, because I still have my shirt with the frog, but
still good. You still good.
And I actually need to get some more apparel from from the new logo, man. But
Absolutely.
You make some valid points about that, and the being humble. I know you come from a wonderful family. I mean, so if I had to look at it, my wife's family and your family, man, are the epitome of what I look at what family probably is. No discredit to my family at all, but man, the things that I watch and hear and see that you all do, and things that I see that they do, I mean, why wouldn't you want to pattern yourself after that and be doing the same thing and carry on that tradition? So that is help to me, and that's what I've always seen in you, is that family focused and that humbleness, like you said, man. So good job with that.
Thank you.
I do want to ask you real quick. Tell me a little bit about the products and services that you have through Doc Adams, or what Jasen Adams as well can do.
Well, right now we are almost full service, man. So right now I'm offering on my website just about all the apparel that you can have on the golf course. So I offer polos, I offer hats, gloves, golf towels, and accessories. So almost everything except for pants and shorts, which is something that I'm getting into. And then for my ladies out there that golf, I have not forgotten about you. Right now, we are focused on men's apparel, but I do have a line of ladies apparel coming out very, very soon. So, because it's a lot of ladies out there that golf, and then, being a new company and not being, I would say, financially set as, the big boys are, you have to do everything at a snail's pace. So, and I like to say you can't get ahead of yourself, So a lot of companies that's out there try to do too much too fast, and it ends up not working. So I always tell my daughter this, and I always tell her it's a marathon, not a sprint. So if you take your time and do things the right way, I've been in business for so long, especially the business of making other companies successful. I kind of know the things to do to make myself successful, and you can't get discouraged about things not happening very fast, because I can tell you right now, the week that I launched, I was like, man, I'll be rich in 6-7 months if things continue to go this way. But then, reality comes, and then that all comes crashing down. But when that reality check does come, you can't get discouraged and say, oh, wow, man, the thing is not working, or the sales are not what they were or what they should be. But you have to think about, a lot of things are seasonal. I mean, you're coming up on part of the year where people are, concentrating on family. It's Christmas time, it's Thanksgiving and all that. People are just not spending as much. Right. So you have to realize that for a business to be successful, man, you have to go through the ebbs and flow of everything. But as far as what we offer, we're just about a full scale apparel company. I mean, and trying to do some things differently than the big boys out there doing. So that's where we are.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And I saw that you threw in those head covers in there, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. I had a lot of requests for the head covers, man, but I mean, that was a one of one. I just wanted to see.
Oh, okay.
But I actually found a company that wants to produce them for me. And, like I said, man, you just have to do things slowly. People want you to jump out there and do everything you can. But I mean, I would love to, but at the same time, you have to think about what's real and what's not. You know, one or two customers wanting you to do something is not the equivalent of mass sales. So, you know, you have to really sit back and think about what you want to do. You know, you don't want to just spread yourself thin like that, but at the same time, you know, put some things on the back burner, you know, kind of, you know, look at some of the things you want to do in the future and make that stuff happen sooner or later.
Doc, I'm gonna ask you something more of a, I guess it could be a tougher question, but it's really not tough, but it's more so a perspective.
Sure.
Ladies in golf, women in golf, being more active in golf, primarily women of color. How have you seen them take a little bit more interest over the time that you've been playing, or does it seem like, you know what, it's too hot, I don't want to be outside like that, I ain't gonna look good? What are your thoughts on that, and then how do you let that factor into the design, or the type of apparel that you want to do for the women's line?
Well, I would say that the casual golfer, that woman, is probably a fair weather golfer. Like my wife plays golf, and she's not going to go when it's hot, and she's not going to go when it's cold. So she wants it to be perfect. Whether you know, as far as a man who wants to play golf, he's going to go if it's raining. You know, I'm gonna go still swinging. If it's 900 degrees outside, I'm still swinging. So
yeah.
But as far as women of color, I've started to. The more I get out there, the more I see. You know, I can say, well, I don't see many women of color playing golf, but now that I'm out there quite often, I see it a lot more, and I'm like, wow, man, it's a lot of people, women and men of color, that play golf. You know, if you talk to people, you will see it a lot more. And as far as the apparel, you know, I pride myself on having one of the best materials for a golf shirt. This thing breathes, and it keeps you cool. If it's cool outside, it keeps you warm. It's one of those things that I found on accident, man, and it turned out to be a great asset to my line, because I've had several of my customers, and I do have customers from coast to coast, from New York to Washington State, man. It's been overwhelming, the response that I got when I dropped the line. And I had a customer of mine out of Alabama to tell me this was the best golf shirt that he ever played in. And he said he's bought all the brands from Nike to Adidas to, you know, Travis Matthew, all the big brands that's out there in golf. And he said my shirt, my little Doc Adams shirt, was the best golf shirt he ever had. And he said it was great for the heat in Alabama. He said it felt like he had on a t-shirt. And it just, you know, so I took that blend that I have and I'm transferring it into a lady shirt, which I will have very soon. So, and then I know the yoga pants are a big thing for ladies, you know, and so I'm dropping some yoga pants for ladies here pretty soon too. So it's about being comfortable, and golf is getting more casual. It's getting more progressive. It's doing all this kind of stuff so you can do things that's non-traditional. And I think that in itself will draw more attention to the sport from men and women, you know, and young girls, hopefully. You know, back in the day when me and you had our kids in the first tee, you know, and I taught first tee for about 4 years until my daughter quit on me. One of the tragic moments in life. She said, "Daddy, I don't want to play golf anymore."
She may come back, man. She played 2 years. She can get a scholarship.
Oh yeah, man. You know, she still can do it, but yeah, man. So I just want to be known as something that's very different, something that's progressive, that has a feel that you just haven't seen, you know. So see a lot of women being comfortable on the golf course. They feel like, to me, women get pigeonholed into something that they have to wear, right? Has to be this, has to be a skirt, has to be this, or has to be shorts. Why not break the status quo? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I just want to push the limits, and if it works, it works. And if it didn't, I can tell you this: I tried. You know, one thing I don't ever want to say is that I didn't try to do something. So, or let an idea just float away, you know what I mean? And not do something about it. I think that would haunt me if I
Yeah.
didn't try to put my best foot forward and try to succeed in this world, because you can't achieve anything if you don't try. You know what I mean? So and I have a big time saying that I've been screaming to the world, even if somebody that has something that they want to do in their career and they are not sure how to do it or anything like that. I mean, I just reach back and I give them the saying, if you can't see the vision, believe in the visionary. So I'm a visionary to the fullest. And a lot of the times people can't see success. You know what I mean? Success comes, in many different forms. You know how it's going to appear. So, me and you, we've been trying different things a long
Yeah.
time, and when Thomas Edison said something, he said he made 10,000 light bulbs before one of them worked, and then people called him a failure or whatever. And he said, no, he didn't fail. He just figured out 10,000 ways that work. So, I mean, so it just depends on how you look at things. It's all about perspective. So I
No,
want to change that perspective. You did?
you're absolutely right, man. And it takes that. I mean, it takes like I said earlier, the desire. One, you believe in yourself. And the last thing you're gonna do is let yourself down when you know that you're capable of doing something. Regardless if it's golf, it's basketball, it's cricket, whatever, you believe in yourself. And that's where it starts there, man. You want to make sure that dash, when you lay down to rest, it meant something to you. And you actually put in work on that dash. So man, wonderful.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So you play golf often. How
Yep.
much inspiration do you see once you go out on the golf course? How much is that going into your design and your look, or your, just anything you take from that?
Well, I can tell you, and me and you have to go out and you have to see this firsthand. Golf is getting younger.
Yeah.
So it's not your typical old white man sport anymore. So that's what people look at. If you tell somebody, just say, for lack of a better word, in the hood, that you're going to play golf, they automatically tell you, oh man, you a square or this or that, but not realizing that the world is changing and it's ever changing. Are you going to be part of the change, or are you going to be part of the problem? So
Right.
yeah, I never want to be part of the problem, but I always want to be part of the change, because one thing that you can guarantee in this world is change. Nothing stays the same. So when I'm out on the golf course now, you can see the progression. You see people out there playing music. You see guys out there with their shirts untucked. You see all of this kind of stuff that knows, because golf is considered to be a gentleman's game. So you see stuff that's not gentleman-like, and you're looking at it, you're like, wow, man, this is really, really progressing. Nobody's buying memberships to country clubs anymore because you don't want to be locked down and it costs a lot. So you can just see it, man. And I'm like, wow, why fight it? Like they had the big deal about a month ago about the golfers wearing hoodies. They were like, what's up with the hoodies? That's not golf, and the next thing you know, as soon as they started to condemn it, guess what? All the manufacturers start making them. And so the more you condemn something, guess what? The more people are going to want to do it. So this is the reason I hoodie yesterday. So I mean, you can just see the progressions, man. That's one thing you see that definitely when you start on the course. And so you're like, hey, man, you got to play to that. So that's a sign of the time that things are changing, man. It's no longer old white guys that play golf. It's everybody, black, white, Asian, Latin, whoever you are, man. Everybody's out there. Everybody's doing something different. And the most of all, everybody's having fun. So I just want to, take advantage of it.
Yeah, and so well, first of all, you are listening to the Listen and Learn series podcast. My host today, I'm joined by Mr. Jasen Adams. You can see at the bottom his website, www.docadamsgolf.com. You can go and find the finest, best, awesome look that you can have on the golf course at that website. Support him. I have to support him. I know I got to get me a red shirt and a gray shirt.
Yeah.
But definitely support Doc Adams. Um, what I wanted to ask you and say is, golf has a big misconception, and I think what people fail to realize is that yes, you're outside. Yes, it takes time, but there's a lot of business done on the golf course as well.
Yes.
I don't think people realize that. And again, I want to bring that in a little tighter. I want my audience to really listen that you ain't got to be great. I want
No.
my ladies to listen. You don't have to be good. Get out there, understand and see how that is, the feel of it. How, when you go and play, I know starting out, I used to go to a par three course. And then I was like, well, let me see how it feels. And so then I would go over to Herman Park. They would just pair you with anybody. I was paired one time with people from Enron. At the time, I didn't even know what Enron was. And they're
Right.
just talking, talking, talking. It was a foursome, and I just happened to be the fourth man. They were talking about stuff that was going on that I didn't look at the time, but when I look back at it, some of the stuff that I saw transpire, they were talking about
Right.
and to some point. And so I think people miss that when they think about golf. They just think about, oh, it's hot, it's hard, I don't want to do it.
Right.
But what is your joy in it? What keeps you going out and play, Doc?
Well, what keeps me going out and play is I get better, So, but that is definitely a misconception. I've met tons and tons and tons of people on the golf course, people that I probably never would have had a chance to meet. Our paths probably would have never crossed. But a lot of business is made on the golf course, probably more than in offices. People probably don't realize that. One thing I did do for KBR was play golf. I played golf for them a lot.
Yeah.
So, and it was a lot of it was business related. So, when you go, you casually talking and all that kind of stuff, because one, it gets people in an element that's much more comfortable and can do better conversation when you're not in your normal element. So a lot of people don't really understand that a lot of deals are made on the golf course. I mean, most of the people that play golf are business related. You got insurance agents, you got lawyers, doctors, engineers, and that's what they do because they want to go to a setting that's a lot more comfortable, a lot more casual. And believe it or not, those things happen every day, all day. And they
Yeah.
and I don't think people. You're right. I don't think people realize how much business is conducted on the golf course, and it's quite a bit. So, and a lot of people love to play. I mean, it's regarded as a rich man's sport, and I think that's really changing because golf can be very expensive. I mean, nobody can sit there and tell you that it's not. It's a very expensive sport. But you got to learn how to make it cheap. And I figured that out over the years, man. Just because it is considered an affluent sport, I mean, you can definitely make it to where it's affordable. So nobody needs to be discouraged in that, right? Yeah, man, it's crazy how many deals are done on the golf course. It's crazy the people you meet. You may end up talking to a guy that you just misjudged straight off of his looks. You're like, oh man, this is not going to be good. And that dude turns out to be a great guy that you may play with again, you may meet again, and all that kind of stuff, man. It's crazy how many conversations I've had, how many contacts I've made.
Yeah.
It's really cool, man. And people, I mean, I just think it's a real big misconception about what goes on the golf course. And you're right. Most people are not good. I would say the majority of people are not good. It's a very small percentage of people who are good. So if somebody's telling you that, more than likely, they lying more than likely. So
exactly. I mean, it's a fair playing field essentially when you go out on the golf course. There's obviously a lot we can touch on, but one of the things I do want to ask you, and you've done stuff over the years that I'm very familiar with, and everybody around you is, and you've done clothing, but with Doc Adams Golf, that's something different, man. I think it's gonna hit audiences that, I mean, ideally that's what you want to hit.
Oh yeah.
And so once it takes off, it's going to be great. But just tell me about a few of the successes that you've had thus far with Doc Adams Golf and kind of what's next for you.
I would claim my biggest success right now is the amount of people that supported the brand. You know, you never know what to expect launching a new brand. The beautiful thing about technology these days is it's easy to launch things when you don't have to pay for it like you used to with the inception of social media. You know, you have so many different channels that you can advertise on yourself, and being a person that is very marketing familiar, I can push my own brand as if I was pushing it for somebody else. So I would claim my biggest success is that the amount of people that supported me, it was crazy, man. It exceeded my expectations totally, man. I didn't know what to expect, and it just jumped out there. I have customers, like I said earlier, from coast to coast, man, from New York to Chicago to LA, all places in between, man. And that's probably, you know, and then I would say the biggest success also is launching it, man. Having the, you know, having just the will to get it out there, man,
Yeah.
the will to do it, man, because a lot of times people stand in their own way, you know, and a lot of times people don't realize they're standing in their own way. So I wanted to get out of the way and really try to do something. And if I failed, fine. You know what I mean? I went down swinging. So I would think that's one of my successes as well, is actually launching the company.
Wonderful, man. And there's no such thing as fail. You learn, but
Right.
if you fail, you're failing forward because you
Right.
tried. And the next man probably wouldn't try, man. So no, that's wonderful. Um, as we kind of wrap this up, how can people find out about Doc Adams Golf and where they can get in contact, where they can find, and where they can purchase? Where can they do that at?
Well, the easiest way is go to the website, docadamsgolf.com. Any and all the information that you need is right there. You can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram quite often, trying to grow my following, but it's hard, man. You got little kids out there with 50,000, 100,000 followers, and all they do is eat sandwiches and something, man. And that social media is fickle, man. You just don't know how.
Yeah.
And you know, somebody with a business and some business acumen can't get to 1,000 yet, but we growing. And I'm on Instagram at DocAdams77 and at DocAdamsGolf. So I have two pages out there, and then I'm also on Facebook at Doc Adams Golf. So yeah, you can look me up that way.
Got you, man. I know you've had some support from commenting on Mr. Brad Jordan, who we both know is an avid golfer.
Oh yeah.
Most people just look at him as rapper, but that dude takes his golf as serious as he does his rapping, man. So Doc, I know we support this. You know, my wife is huge in golf. I'm trying to get her back out there more because she
Right.
has a lot of insight and a lot of help that she wants to bring to the women. But what you're doing, man, to be able to, we all like to look good.
Right.
let's not miss that point first. You want to look good, and what you've done with your apparel and the look and the brand and that boldness of that elephant, man, and how you created it, that's awesome. One thing I do want to say as well for any of you listening, if you have any graphic needs, this man here has the skill to make it happen. You saw what he did with KBR. KBR's brand has changed. I think didn't you ring the bell at the stock exchange?
I did. Yes.
I mean,
One of the highlights of my career, man.
I mean,
Yeah. I was there, man. That was crazy.
that's awesome, man. I mean, that's just commendable to you, Jay. I mean, you stayed true to what it is you do. You've been humble and you've not boasted. I mean, and so the success is going to continue to fall. I pray it continues to fall on you. I'm gonna do something because I haven't gotten my shirt yet. I need two of them. I need a red one and a gray one, but I'm also gonna get another one, and I'm gonna give that to anybody who sends a message or comments on anything on this post about getting the opportunity to go out there and play golf. I want somebody that's gonna want to go out there and play golf. I'm gonna provide you your first shirt to go out there and play golf. Because most people don't even know the rules of golf. You can't just go
Right.
out there in a t-shirt. We didn't
No,
even touch those things. You can't go out in a t-shirt and shorts. You
no,
gotta
I'm
have a
not that
collared
progressive,
shirt.
not yet.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have a collared shirt, be straight. And so I want to do that for someone. My wife taught me that a long, long time ago. And so that's going to be my gift. I'm going to get my two shirts tomorrow, and then I'm going to get a third one that I'm going to make sure I give away to one special listener who would be willing to go out and play back. Matter of fact, I want to give one out to a female, a lady, somebody that's going to go out there and give it a try.
I got the
That's
pink.
what I'm going to do.
I got the pink shirts, man. They nice.
He does. So thank you, Doc. One last thing I want to ask you, man. We're men. We're men. We're women. We all have our tough days. We all have our ambitions, our dreams. Sometimes we don't know how to get to that next step. We don't know how to reach it. Is there anything that you possibly could leave with the listeners that's going to, or maybe just even a word of advice, a quote, a mantra, something that you've come across that when you on your toughest days, it helps lift you up and know that you to keep going.
Man, I would say just the will to succeed. You have to have some drive. There's nothing that's gonna come to you. You have to want to attain that, man. There's people say, nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream, and the dream big, but you also have to have some kind of grind. And I have a grind to me that no other, because when you have people depending on you, and everybody does, you have to be willing to sacrifice and make things happen for them. It's not just about you a lot of times, especially when you have a family. They look at you as a leader, whether you are leading as a male or a female. Your kids look at you as their role model. They're looking to you 100% of the time. So my will to succeed is because of them. And that's what I would try to instill in anybody who's trying to start a business. You can't be afraid to fail. You can't. A lot of people, like I said earlier, are in their own way, man. If you have something, push for it. Even if it takes you a few years to get there, still have that drive and never give up on it, because you never know when your opportunity is going to come. Nobody knows what the future holds, but the future's coming. So you have to jump out there and just try it, man. You got to get 10 toes down, man, and you just can't be scared, because when I hit the ground, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hit it running. I can't be afraid. And if it doesn't work, hey, I know I have the drive to do something that will work. So I've had several businesses, that I've had several design companies, and nothing ever took off quite like you wanted to, but still, I'm going to get out there, so I would advise people to just definitely do not be afraid to try. Definitely do not be afraid to chase your dreams, because even if you wanted to start another golf company, do it, because I feel like it's enough money out there for everybody. There's no reason for us as people to be selfish, especially as Black people. One thing that we don't do as Black, uplift one another. And I think over the past few years, we're trying to get better at doing that. And I think, just for the listeners out there, I think one thing I would love to leave with Black people and people of color is that don't wait for somebody else to validate a business for you to train. A lot of times we wait for somebody else that doesn't look like us and doesn't think like us to validate the product that we are selling to us, which is something that we should never do. And I see it all the time, man. It's unfortunate that you're looking for validation from somebody else before you support a business. And I think that's one problem that we have in our community, and that's one thing that we need to get away from, because we can be so much more successful and be at the top of the food chain versus the bottom. Look out for one another and get out of each other's way with that jealous, that spirit that you don't want to help others succeed, that spirit that you don't want to see the next man have success, when it's enough out here for everybody.
Right.
It's not enough just for me. It's not enough just for you. It's enough for everyone out there. And I think once we get into that mind frame, man, we're going to be on top. Matthew 5:5 said, the earth, the meek shall inherit. I believe that. So
Yes,
but we
sir.
have to believe that. You know what I mean? So we got to get on that train, and we never should get off of it.
Man, you said above everything else and your product, you said something right there, man. That I my prayer is that others hear that and know that you don't have to do the things of old.
Right.
There's a lot of opportunity out there. Listen, we grew up around it, been around it, we've done it. That's not the life.
No
The life
doubt.
is to live peacefully and happily, and success means whatever success means to you. There's
Exactly.
no such thing as success
No, there's no
with a
road map.
definition.
You know,
Right.
take the road, let's travel.
Yeah,
There's no guidebook for success. You know, success
absolutely.
comes in many different forms, man. Take your road. You know, just success for me and you is totally different. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Don't worry about the success I have. Worry about achieving the success that's meant for you. And I think once
Absolutely.
people get out of their own way, man, it is going to be a beautiful thing out here, man. And so many people doing different things. But one thing people can't do is be afraid. You just can't be afraid, man. You just can't be.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, Doc, again, I thank you. Um, Carissa, Zion, we thank y'all for the time. We thank y'all for the fellowship, the relationship, and much success and everything. Uh, Obviously, Doc and I haven't got a chance to get out on that golf course lately, but
Yeah,
I
it's been a
stay
minute.
away.
You need to
I
get back
stay
out.
away because his handicap and some of my other buddies' handicaps are so much better than mine. But I admire from afar, and that was one reason why I wanted to talk to you. I mean, I'm excited about the brand. I'm excited about the line, and we're gonna bring this thing all together, man. And we're gonna get more of us out there on the course because that's a lesson and a skill and a game that you can play later
Absolutely.
on in life, man. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
enjoy. So, Doc, man, this concludes our episode, man, for today. I hope everything was helpful to people. You've shared your information. You can always go to docadamsgolf.com. You can find an assortment of shirts, whether it's t-shirts, collared shirts, hats, gloves, you name it, it's there. Trust me, and I'm going there too. But also, Doc is not like any other. You will get your product in minimum of 2 to 3 days.
Yes.
His main thing is to make sure that, like, if you're gonna take your time to order from him, he's gonna have your product there. You're not gonna have to wait 7 weeks as Alibaba
No,
or any other stuff. So
no.
uh,
We full service.
he full service. He gets you your product. There are many other podcasts you could have been listening to. There are many other things you could be doing right now, but you chose the few of you. I thank you so much for joining, for tuning in. Um, I enjoyed this show. It's always fun when you talk to friends, and it's always fun when you see friends doing things that their hearts desire. And that's one thing. And Doc, and honestly, the majority of people that I have on my show are doing what it is that they want to do. And so I think there's value in everything that you hear from them all. So definitely, if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, like, follow us. It's under the Listen and Learn Series podcast is my name, but Lipa HR Solutions is the company that I work and I deal. That's my business. And so you can find everything there. But remember, it's on all apps and all podcasts, anything that hosts podcasts. So I appreciate your time, and I wish you all much success and definitely be encouraged. Thank you.